Hi there, I'm Michelle Singh, and I want to welcome you to the Restful Teacher Challenge. Now, I created this challenge because I have been on the other side of burnout. I have been on the other side of dread. I have been on the other side of drained, okay? And I know what it feels like to be completely overwhelmed and stressed. I know that feeling of being pulled in thousands of different directions. And I know what it feels like when everything is all too much and my brain and physical body and spiritual being is at capacity. So I hope that you're able to gain practical insights from our guest speakers and fellow educators and professionals who will be sharing with you on this challenge. So thank you for joining the challenge, and let's meet our special guest speaker for today.
All right, so welcome to the Restful Teacher Challenge. Our dynamic guest speaker today is Dr. Wanda. Dr. Wanda is an educator and leader, an entrepreneur, and I am going to ask Dr. Wanda to share a bit about who she is and the important work that she does personally and professionally.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited about being here. I am a retired public school educator. I was many roles throughout my 30-year career, from high school math teacher to principal to regional superintendent, deputy chancellor, from a lot of different places. And I've loved every single one of them. My company now, I retired in 2020 to start Joyful Excellence Education Group. And this company focuses on helping educational leaders from principals to superintendents to achieve excellent results, but also maintain joy. I know many leaders who have excellent results, but they don't even remember what brought them joy. So I try to help them achieve both.
Well, I love that you have that focus on joy, and that's exactly why I thought that you would be perfect for the Restful Teacher Challenge, because this year's theme is cultivating joy through rest. So can you tell us a bit about what does it mean to cultivate joy? What does it mean if you're being excellent, like you said, but you don't have that peace, that joy, that joyfulness?
Mhm.
What does it mean to be missing the joy and to have the joy?
Hmm. What I think happens for leaders, that we often start being very laser focused on success because our commodity, our children, and we want them to be successful. So we're laser focused on the success of the students we serve, and we forget all the things we do to bring ourselves balance. And so we start to work 6 days a week or 7 days a week, 12, 13-hour days, because we have the most precious commodity, but we forget about ourselves. What for me, it starts with defining what joy is for you individually, and what are those activities that you should incorporate in your life to bring you joy every single day. And then how do you also establish boundaries within your day, within your week, within your month around what you will do and you won't do so that joy doesn't slip away from you? And then with those boundaries, that means as a leader, you must also learn to be a very strategic delegator. And so all those parts and pieces go together with understanding what joy is for yourself, establishing those boundaries, and being able to communicate and delegate effectively so that the organization is still successful, but you also have more balance and time and space for joy.
Wow, so so specific, right? With especially when we talk about setting boundaries and doing joyful activities like every single day, incorporating them and being really strategic about planning those types of activities in your schedule, right? So can you talk about like some specific routines and activities or a personal story about how you incorporate joy in your day?
Oh, absolutely will. I start my day with the morning routine, and I believe I started morning routines. I've always exercised in the morning, but being very focused on the morning routine was when I was a deputy superintendent in Indianapolis Public Schools. And that was probably the most stressful job I've had, but also the most rewarding job. But I realized then that I still would work out every day, but I didn't do anything else consistently. And so my very first focus was creating a morning routine for myself. And I stick to it every single day, whether it's up to an hour or whether it's a short amount of time. And I designed a morning routine for myself that fits what I need in the morning. So when I wake up, I do devotion, I work out, and then I get dressed. And then I'm ready for the day. I suggest that to my clients, that how you start the day matters. And some days I don't have as much time. I still do those three things typically, but I might not spend as much time with them. And so I usually start my clients who I support with, how do you start your day? And can you carve out some time for yourself just to lay that solid foundation for the day? And then on the back end, I like evening routines. Like, how do you wind down? How do you set aside time to wind down so that you can actually have restful sleep? And so you create an evening routine, and it's really designed on what you need in the evening times. And so, on my calendar, it tells what my evening is all about. There's a time that I cut off for the day. I like to do jigsaw puzzles because you can't really worry and do a jigsaw puzzle. You can't do a to-do list and try to find pieces that match. So one of my evening things is typically a jigsaw puzzle, time with my furry friends, time with my husband, and then chamomile tea and showers and candles and all that, so that I can wind down and go to sleep. So those routines start your day and end your day, and those are the things that you probably have more control over.
Oh my goodness. I love all of the different ideas you talked about. Having those routines at those different transitions in your day are really important. And that's a way that you can start to build in those foundations in what you're doing every day, so that you can practice these restful practices. Because you talked about jigsaw puzzles, you talked about your furry friends, which one of my furry friends just turned off my just bumped into the camera and knocked it out. You talked about spending time with your husband, and so the chamomile tea. Like, I do have a morning routine as well as a nighttime routine, but this wasn't something that I was taught. It was something that I had to learn, right? Like, and I had to choose the things that I liked, that
Mhm.
did something for me. So you like chamomile tea. I love mint tea. And so mint and eucalyptus is part, like I have eucalyptus oil in my bathtub. So that's how I calm down, in the evenings. And then I have my mint tea, right? And you talked about puzzles. I do like the screen time where I actually put my phone away from my bed. So I don't, so if it goes off at night, or, in the morning when I first wake up, it's not the first thing I look at, because the phone is too far for me to grab it.
Yes.
Right. And so what advice, or um, what words of, encouragement would you give to someone who doesn't know what they don't know? They don't know that they need a morning routine or a nighttime routine. And how would they even start it?
Oh, wow. I actually read a book that was called, what is it called? I cannot even think of the name of it. I can't think of it. I'll think of it later. But it's about morning routines, and there are tons of them now. This was a long time ago. I would suggest that they think of things that make them feel rejuvenated and at peace in the mornings, and start doing a little bit of those. So start with 5 minutes of each of those, whatever those things are. And because if my time is so short, I try to do 5 minutes of each. 5 minutes of devotion, 5 minutes of exercise, not 5 minutes of getting dressed, because that takes a lot longer. But I'm gonna do devotion and meditation, and then 5 minutes of just walking around or just doing a little bit of yoga and stretching. And so I would suggest starting in the morning. It doesn't have to be long, but what could you do in the morning that helps you to find that peace and feel ready for the day? And whether it's even just sitting outside. Some people love sunshine, they need sunshine early in the morning. So, what individually could you do for 5 to 15 minutes? Oh, the book was called Miracle Morning. Now it comes to me.
Okay, miracle.
And so, what can you do in the morning just for a little while, that makes you feel restored and peaceful and also rejuvenated for the day? And then the
Okay.
things like 5 to 15 minutes to start those. And then what can you do in the evening? What helps you to wind down? And like some people, there's so many things that you can do. Some people love baths at night, some people like candles. So, what can you do to make yourself feel restful in the evening? And just start small, I would say.
Start small. And a lot of times we don't know what we need or what we like, because we've spent so much time being busy and taking care of others, that we neglected ourselves for decades. And
Decades.
so it's going to take some introspection, right?
Yes, and some trial and see what you like. Maybe you don't like it,
Yeah.
but
So
just try it.
yeah, so trial and error, introspection, and figure out what you like, what brings you joy, what not because somebody said it, but what actually brings you joy. Just because somebody said, oh, you should do this because I love it, that doesn't mean you're going to love it. Right?
Mhm.
So you really have to figure it out for yourself. And that could be hard, especially if you've never put yourself first before, which I know that many of us in our roles as educators, we often do. We put everybody else before
Mhm.
us, right? So for the overwhelmed educator who struggles to find time for rest, what is your advice to them?
I would say carve out 10 minutes for yourself in the morning. And if you don't know what to do first, just sit for a little while and ask yourself, what do I need now? Or like I'll have clients and I'll say, so what brings you joy? And I would say like 80% have absolutely no clue.
Right.
Really don't know what brings them joy now. And most of my clients are experienced educators. I would say 15 plus years of experience. And they really have forgotten. And so I said, oh, great. They're like, great. I said, oh, it's time to play then. Let's figure it out. So I would say carve out 10 minutes of time and just sit and think about, go to Pinterest. What used to bring you joy? What used to bring you peace? And if not, just try a few things.
Okay. And
Just try.
think about the things that give you some kind of lift throughout your
Mhm,
day, right?
mhm,
Because like I'll tell you one example. Like for me, I love my dogs. I have four of them. I've always had dogs. My oldest one is 15. And in the mornings when I let them outside and they're doing their business, I actually take that time to do some stretching while I'm outside in the sun, looking at the trees and breathing in the fresh air. So I've developed that as a part of my routine because I realized, okay, I love spending time with my dogs. It makes me happy to see them happy, but then
mhm.
I also love nature. And why not just take advantage of being with them, being in nature, and doing something that can help me throughout my day, which would be just some light, gentle stretching.
Absolutely. Perfect example. My husband recently was building a cigar lounge attached to our house. He smokes cigars and he can't smoke inside. So he was smoking in the garage. So we're adding a cigar lounge for him. And outside is a place where they built a deck for his grill that's covered. And I just sat there one day and I thought, wow, this is really peaceful. So the next day I brought a little chair outside. And so the grill deck has now been an area where I will spend time in the morning because it's really peaceful. And
Mhm.
so kind of like you said, you stumble upon these great little things. You're like, oh, this feels good. And so do more
Yeah.
of those things that you stumble on it. Oh, this feels good.
Yeah, you absolutely. I love that you said you could stumble on it because it could just be on your drive home from work, right?
Mhm.
You don't listen to the radio at all because you just want to kind of have that sense of calm. And
Mhm.
so that could be part of your routine, or it could be the opposite. Maybe you want to get like real hype and crunk, and so you put on
Yes.
your hip hop and whatever, your reggae, like for me,
I
your
know.
Afro beats, or lay your gospel music to get your mind right. And
Mhm.
so that could be part of your routine that helps you to find some kind of balance, right? During a transition
Yes.
of your day.
Mhm. And so
So,
finding things that really speak to you and then continuing to do those. But I think a part of it is also taking the time to notice the effect of those things. Like you go, 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 go. And if I hadn't taken the time to sit on the deck one day and just think, oh, this is kind of nice. I need a chair. And
mhm.
we're always going all the time and not taking the time to notice how an action or an activity impacts us and how we feel, we might miss those little things. Like we might not, we won't even stumble upon them and notice that that works for us. So just taking the time to slow down just a little bit.
So that reflection piece is super important. You have to really be cognizant of what you're doing and also the effects that it has on you. Because if you don't know the effects, if you don't pay attention to the effects and the benefits of it, then you completely like miss that opportunity to be inspired
Yes.
so that you could continue to do it. Right.
Absolutely. So true.
So what inspires you to prioritize rest when things get hectic, because I know being an entrepreneur as well as a leader, the educator, former educator, mom, dog mom, wife, like all of those things, right? What inspires you to continue to prioritize rest, as well as just those bringing that joy, keeping that joy in your life?
I believe one is I know that it's necessary as a Black woman to take care of ourselves, because so many things can happen to us physically if we don't control the things we can't control. When I was in Indianapolis, I didn't share that the reason I started being healthier is because the dentist told me I started grinding my teeth, and I didn't even notice I was grinding my teeth. And he shared with me where he saw grooves in my teeth, and I thought, oh my gosh, how am I so busy that I don't even notice that my teeth are changing? And he wanted to do some fillings in the front. So I want to stay healthy and well, and so that's part of why I do it. But I also notice that I feel and perform better when I take care of myself first. So the old oxygen mask. I am a better leader or a better executive coach when I start my day if I've taken care of me first. That I found myself more centered, things flow easily once I've taken care of me. And even being a better wife or a dog mom or a friend, when I take care of me, I'm much better at those things.
Okay, love
I want to
that.
stay healthy. And I also like the way it feels too.
The way it feels, but yeah, you are building your capacity so that you can take care and better support those around you. Because if you're on E, how are you going to help all of those students sitting in your classrooms, or the teachers in your school, if you're constantly on E, right? Or you rolling on autopilot because you're so exhausted. How are you going to be the best for the people around you if you're not putting yourself first? And it's not, I think a lot of times there's this misconception where we think that prioritizing ourselves is selfish, when it really isn't, because we have to prioritize ourselves so that we can be our best to take care of everybody and everything around us.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about, really paying attention to the benefits. Have you had any experience where the rest and the activities that you participate in has boosted your productivity and your creativity? And what are some of the things that you've done to do that, if you've noticed those things?
I think it's just in general that I feel when I'm centered and at rest, I feel that I am my most productive self. It has also taught me when I have my best energy, because I'm aware of myself. Like, I know I'm a morning person, I like to get up, but I realize that I'm more creative in the morning. And so I try to schedule my creative time in the morning, because I've taken the time just to slow down a little bit and be aware of what my body needs and when it needs it. It has just in general helped me to be more creative. I don't know if I'm ever a creative person, but I'm a very productive person. Former math teacher. I'm not that. I draw lines, I make straight lines, and I hire creative people. But I do know I'm more productive when I am centered and at peace.
Okay. And your morning and evening routines help you to be centered and at peace, because you're doing those consistently. Like, this is not a one and done thing, right? You just do it once a week and I'm good. This is something that you have to build into your daily routine and be consistent about it to see effects, right?
Absolutely. When I skip days, and normally if I'm home, I don't have to skip a day, but if I'm traveling for work and I'm up all night doing something and I have to get up early, then sometimes my morning routine is shorter. I just really feel the difference, and I feel like I have to get myself ready instead of just being ready. And so but it is something that you have to practice every single day in order to have effect. So I do meditation within my devotion, and I do it every single day so that I build the stamina and the resilience inwardly and also mentally.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like you said building the stamina and the resilience. So it's like building a muscle, right?
Yeah.
You have to build that muscle, and be consistent about it, in order to really benefit from it, and to get to feel that joy and to feel well rested ultimately.
I think that's a great point. Someone said people who practice meditation, like, I just don't get it today. Okay, maybe I didn't explain it as good as I should have. You won't just get it today. It is something, meditation is something that takes a little more time. You'll never be perfect at it. But you do build that muscle. My husband's a personal trainer. And so it's easy. I'm glad that you mentioned that because it's just like what he talks about building muscle mass, especially as you get older, you have to be very consistent because your body wants to do something different. And the same thing is true for your mental wellness. You need to be very consistent with your routines and your practices so that you can have the positive effects that you read about, that you really desire. So the consistency.
Yeah, because if you don't, you get to a certain age and then your body's not doing the things that you want it to do. And the stress, the burnout, the overwhelm, all of the things that we put ourselves through is gonna creep up on us sooner or later. And especially the older we get. Like I know for me, I'm kind of reaping reaping those things now, right? Like my doctor tells me that my cortisol level is imbalanced, and the things that she recommends that I do to improve that are prayer, meditation, like these things that we incorporate in our day as part of our routines. And thank God that I have changed my practices since last year and started incorporating the rest in my schedule. But that's only been a year of doing it versus 40 plus of not doing it. So I can't imagine, if I didn't start doing these things, how much worse off I would be.
It's never too late to start, but you do have to give yourself some time for your body and your mind to catch up.
Yes. Give yourself some time, give yourself some grace. And like you said, start small. Start small because you're not just going to jump into this and start lifting 1,000 pounds. Start with 5.
5 minutes.
Right? 5 minutes a day. Even you can manage 5 minutes a day. It could be during a transition, during the transition between classes. It could be on your drive home. It could be right before bed. There are different practices that you can incorporate. I do micro journaling, so like writing a couple lines a day. It don't have to be a whole page, right? Just disconnecting from the screens and the phones for the evening. That could be part of your practice. There's just so many practical things that can be done and incorporated consistently throughout your day that will improve the way that you're gonna live your life and feel rested and feel joy. So as we come to a close, is there any other advice, the one biggest piece of advice that you would give to someone who is wanting to do the work to find that joy but don't know what it is, and want to rest but are just so busy they don't know where to start?
My one piece of advice is to start small with 5 minutes a day in the morning.
Start small.
Start small, whether the 5 minutes is how you do your commute to work, whether it's 5 minutes on the porch, 5 minutes of journaling, 5 minutes of reading. But I would say start small and then add.
And then add to it. Well, thank you, Dr. Wanda, for your time and sharing your experience with Cultivating Joy. And we appreciate you being on the Restful Teacher Challenge. And we hope that you were able to get some wonderful gems from this conversation. And thank you so much for participating in the Restful Teacher Challenge. I hope you found our guest speakers' insights inspiring and practical. Take the time to plan and implement your joyful rest daily, and tell us about it in the community.